Good morning. Happy Saturday to you. This is Mr. Mike from the Mechanicsburg Learning Center. It is 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time and time for our Dino-A-Day update. Today, we're going to diverge just a little bit from talking specifically about dinosaurs, and we're going to talk about another ancient beast. Now, it's very important to understand that every time we discover a fossil, that doesn't necessarily mean that we've actually uncovered a new species of dinosaur. There were plenty of other things that existed quite a long time ago that are not classified as dinosaurs. This happens to be one of the most popular ancient animals that people know a lot about based on movies, based on legends, based on Discovery Channel specials that say the thing is still alive. But let's put this into perspective. This is an extinct animal, and if this thing were still alive, many of us might not be alive too if you encountered it. This is a swimming beast known as the Megalodon. Now, its name means big tooth. Megalodon, Don stands for tooth. So scientists, as I said, scientists are very, very good at putting puzzles together. They're good critical thinkers. They don't get terribly, I don't know what the word would be. They're not really particularly exciting when it comes to naming animals. So big tooth is what it's called. Now, most folks think that the Megalodon is related to the great white. There's no reason for me to even show you a model because everybody knows what a great white shark looks like. And Megalodon probably did resemble it, but there's now a lot of evidence that says that the Megalodon and the great white were not really related. They were very distant cousins. So to say that a Megalodon is just a big version of great white would be... the teeth of Megalodon have been discovered for hundreds and hundreds of years by humans. So people didn't really realize what they were. They called them heartstones because they were, shaped like this. They thought that they were the fossilized or hardened tongues of dragons. They really didn't know what they were until a Danish scientist, Nicholas Steno, took a close look at a Megalodon tooth and a close look at what was then a present-day shark for him and said, these are actually shark teeth. But they were so big, people kind of freaked out. But that was way back in 1667, and really the Megalodon, ended up getting named in 1843, so it took a long time for them to figure out what it was. And it was named by a gentleman named Louis Agassiz, and they determined that the animal was probably about 15.9 to 2.6 million years ago. That's what they figured how long the Megalodon lived, or how long ago it lived. So it's definitely not a present-day animal. 2.6 million years ago, even though a lot more recent than dinosaurs, is still a long time ago. So, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, which came first, dinosaurs or sharks? Sharks. In fact, there's so many different species of sharks. Take a look at shark teeth and note the size and the shape of them, and even the color. And these are typical teeth. Some of these are actually extinct, and some of them are present-day sharks. But you can see, based on the size of my hand and the size of the shark tooth, how big these were. So now let's take a look at a present-day version of a great white shark tooth. Now this is still pretty old, but this is the same size that you would see on a great white today. Now, the reason folks thought that the Megalodon and the great white were related is because they're very similar. And I'm not sure if you can see. Yeah, if I point to it, you probably can. You can see the serrations. Okay, listen. You can hear that? Yeah, these were serrated teeth just like a steak knife. Now, let's compare this shark tooth to a replica Megalodon tooth. Drum roll, please. Baboon. Okay. So you can see the Megalodon was just a tad larger than a typical great white. Great whites, they probably grow to 20, 22, maybe max out at around 23 feet. We think to 50 to 60 feet. So scary enough. Megalodon could make a snack of a great white. Let's put it that way. Now this is a replica, okay? So this is, you can see how shiny it is. But it's also, you can see that mark on the left of my arm. It's also serrated. Now let's take a look at a real Megalodon tooth. Sent to me by my brother John. Thank you for that, John. It was a birthday gift a couple of years ago. Here's a chunk of a real Megalodon tooth. The difference between a real tooth and a fake tooth, there's some weight to this bad boy. It is a pretty heavy tooth, okay? And you can see how the enamel has turned gray over the years. Now, I want to show you something. See, this is the curved front, and this is the flat back. Now, to correct something, this is actually the back of the tooth, the rounded part. What's coming at you is the straight, flat edge. But everybody likes to look at the curved edge because it's so pretty, but that's actually the back of the Megalodon tooth. So, a couple more facts about the Megalodon that I find kind of interesting. Its bite force, which is how they measure how hard or how fast or the power of a bite, has been noted to be between 24 and 40,000 pounds. A lot. In fact, it's about 3 times the force of our famous Tyrannosaurus Rex. 3 times the bite force. It had to. I mean, it had to have a strong bite because it was eating some pretty big animals. We have found Megalodon teeth lodged into the carcasses, the fossilized carcass of whales. So the thing ate whales. And probably like a great white would swim up from the depths and attack the animal and take a bite out of it and wait for the animal to bleed to death and have dinner. So the funny thing is about Megalodon, if you look at the word Megalodon in a book, and it should not be capitalized, because as I've instructed when I talk to schools and childcare centers, the first name of the dinosaur, let's give it as an example, Tyrannosaurus has a capital T, so it would be Tyrannosaurus. Second name is Rex. Rex would be a small lowercase r. So the name of the animal is Tyrannosaurus Rex. And every animal, just like Homo sapiens, has 2 names. All right? But most people don't know the second name of most dinosaurs. But everybody knows the second name of this animal, Megalodon, because Megalodon is actually its second name. So its genus is Carcharodon and its species is Megalodon. So the proper name of this animal is Carcharodon megalodon, but everybody just calls it Megalodon for short. It could also be classified as Cles megalodon. They're still trying to figure that out. But the great white is Carcharodon carcharias. So that's just a little trivia for you. Interestingly enough, there was a president of the United States who was very much into prehistoric history. His name was Thomas Jefferson. And in the Thomas Jefferson collection of fossils, if you ever go to Monticello, where he lived, he has a Megalodon tooth. So lo and behold, even presidents are interested in ancient sharks. So let's go ahead and read you my story of the Megalodon. And the reason I call my stories fact-packed dino rhymes is because you will learn a lot if you listen closely to the story. This story is called The Mighty Megalodon, written by Mr. Mike, illustrated by my son Ethan. Whenever I do this story, I tend to go into a Australian accent because sharks are very popular in Australia. So here we go. If you swam in ancient seas, you may have come upon giant hungry sharks we've named the Mighty Megalodon. These were such enormous beasts, yet still it's hard to tell how large each one grew because they didn't have a shell. 50, maybe 60 feet is what. Maybe they grew larger, but we've few bones to inspect. Not one bone, just cartilage is what made up their prey. And all we've got are these giant teeth. That's how they got their name. Now, Megs were apex predators. Since other fish steered clear, just one bite could be the end, so fishes lived in fear. Measurements of teeth we found are over 7 inches. These were the first megabytes, not little nips and pinches. Judging by the bones we found belonging to some whales, we believe the Megalodon took bites out of their tails. These were sharks so powerful that whales were their main prey. That's a fact that makes me glad they're not around today. So if you swam in ancient seas, you may have seen a jaw large enough to swallow people over 6 feet tall. Megs could open up and stretch their mighty mouths so wide you could walk right past those teeth and have a seat inside. Now, that's a place I wouldn't want to spend much time at, though. If you ask what I'd prefer, really rather go back up to the beach, watch the night melt into dawn, safe upon the sand away from the mighty Megalodon. The Megalodon shark. Not related to great white, but similar in appearance. 50 is what we think, and definitely extinct, so you don't have to worry about going swimming. But these sharks, we believe, shed between 40 and 50,000 teeth in their lifetime because they had a conveyor belt of teeth. So when one would wear out, another one would take its place. So it always had a nice full set of shark's teeth. Now, here's an interesting thing, too. One final thing before I let you go. This is a shark tooth, but we don't know where on the jaw it appeared. Was it a side tooth? Was it a front tooth? The front tooth are always larger. So if this were a side tooth, the front teeth would be even larger. So remember that the next time you go look at some shark teeth. This is Mr. Mike for the Mechanicsburg Learning Center. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you share this as you've done all my videos so far. Share them with your friends and family and folks that want to know about more dinosaurs and ancient animals. Tune in tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for another episode of Dino-A-Day with Mr. Mike, brought to you by the Mechanicsburg Learning Center. Thanks. Have a great day. Enjoy yourself. See you soon.